This is VOA News. Reporting by remote, I'm David Byrd. Leaders of the 7 wealthiest democracies met in person for the first time since before the coronavirus pandemic Friday, with the aim of leading the global fight against the virus and building back better toward a greener, more prosperous, and equitable future. The summit's host, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, said the leaders needed to make sure they learned the lessons of the coronavirus pandemic and do not repeat past mistakes.
We need to make sure that we don't repeat some of the errors that we doubtless made in the course of the last 18 months or so, and we need to make sure that we now allow our economies to recover.
Later, the leaders attended a reception with the British royal family, where the heir to the British throne, Prince Charles, encouraged the leaders to focus on climate change and preserving the planet. Climate change, the world economy, and relations with Russia and China are expected as part of the agenda as the leaders of Canada, Britain, France, Germany, the United States, Italy, and Japan continue their summit through Sunday. The Justice Department's internal watchdog is now looking into what top Democrats have called a shocking abuse of power by the Trump administration. AP's Sagar Meghani reports.
The department's inspector general is investigating after revelations that the Trump-era Justice Department secretly seized phone records from at least 2 House Democrats in a leaks probe. Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff and panel member Eric Swalwell say Apple told them last month the department subpoenaed their metadata and received it 3 years ago as the committee investigated Trump's Russia ties. Subpoenaing lawmakers' private information is extraordinarily rare. The Senate's top 2 Democrats are demanding former Trump attorneys General Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions testify. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
This is VOA News. A police officer in Chicago is facing charges for his part in the U.S. Capitol riot in January. AP's Ed Donahue reports.
Prosecutors say Carol Cheswick broke into and damaged the office of Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley and texted photos of himself inside while wearing a police department sweatshirt after telling someone he was going to Washington to save the nation. Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown calls it
a betrayal of everything we stand for, our oath, the law.
Brown says Cheswick was relieved of duty. He was on medical leave in Chicago on the day of the riot. Brown says the fact an officer is charged with an attack on American democracy
makes my blood boil, makes me sick to my stomach.
A federal magistrate ordered Cheswick released on bond. I'm Ed Donahue.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed an executive order that will lift most of the state's coronavirus rules. It will end the state's stay-at-home order and its various amendments. Starting Tuesday, there will be no capacity limits or physical distancing requirements for businesses. Fully vaccinated people can stop wearing masks in most places. Newsom said he would not end the statewide declaration of emergency that ensures the governor has the power to alter or suspend state laws in the future. Newsom has angered state Republican lawmakers who say the emergency declaration is unnecessary. If all goes according to plan, Israel will swear in a new government on Sunday, ending Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's record 12-year rule and a political crisis that inflicted 4 elections on the country in less than 2 years. Emily Wither of Reuters has more.
The 2 men hoping to oust the country's longest-ruling leader are unlikely bedfellows. Coalition leader Yair Lapid and nationalist politician Naftali Bennett. As things stand, the coalition of right-wing, left-wing, centrist and Arab parties commands a majority of the 120-member Knesset. It would be sworn in the same day once it is approved, with Bennett becoming prime minister. Under a rotation deal, Bennett, a former defense minister and a high-tech millionaire, will serve until 2023 as prime minister. Then Lapid, once a popular TV host, will take over.
That's Reuters' Emily Wither. An update on Wall Street with all 3 major indices finishing in positive territory. The Dow Jones Industrials rose 0.04%. The S&P 500 gained 0.2%. The Nasdaq Composite added 0.35%. Reporting by remote, I'm David Byrd, VOA News.
This is VOA News via remote. I'm Tommy McNeil. A group of 7 leaders brought pledges to share vaccine doses and make a fairer global economy to a seaside summit in England. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson opened the summit Friday, saying the coronavirus pandemic should not be allowed to leave a lasting scar on the world. The wealthy nation's leaders were all smiles as Johnson greeted them on the sand of Carbis Bay, but jostled with one another about who was doing most to help poorer nations fight back from the pandemic. The Wealthy Democracies Club is expected to commit to sharing at least $1 billion in vaccine shots, with struggling countries, including 500 million doses from the United States. Iraq's oil sector is now rebounding after a catastrophic year triggered by the coronavirus pandemic, with key investment projects on the horizon. That's according to Iraq's oil minister. He warned that an enduring bureaucratic culture of fear threatens to stand in the way. Oil Minister Hassan Abdul-Jabbar Ismail told the Associated Press he can now focus on other priorities. In the interview, he offered a rare glimpse into the inner workings of the country's most significant ministry. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday said that Russia's relations with the U.S. had deteriorated to their lowest point in recent years. In an excerpt of an exclusive interview with NBC due to air in full Monday, Putin called former U.S. President Donald Trump a colorful individual and said he can work with his successor, Joe Biden. Trump was criticized for cozying up to Putin during his 4 years in office. More at voanews.com. This is VOA News. AP correspondent Jackie Quinn reports that the U.S. Congress is now considering big changes to the structure of the big 4 tech companies.
A bipartisan group of House lawmakers is proposing sweeping changes to reduce the market power of big tech companies, possibly forcing Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Apple to sever their dominant platforms from their other lines of business. These proposals stem from a 15-month investigation into alleged abuse of market power and monopolistic behavior.
That's AP correspondent Jackie Quinn reporting. At 4 o'clock p.m. local time Sunday, Israel's Knesset will take the steps that will likely unseat Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as the country's longest-serving prime minister. The first incoming prime minister, ultra-nationalist Naftali Bennett, and his alternate, Yair Lapid, will address the governing body before Netanyahu has an opportunity to respond. After some debate, a leader will be elected. Bennett has vowed to chart a new course aimed at healing the country's divisions and restoring a sense of normalcy. The new coalition consists of 8 parties from across Israel's political spectrum. It includes a small Arab party that has made history by joining a government for the first time. If even one party bolts, though, the government would be at serious risk of collapse, and Netanyahu, who intends to stay on as an opposition leader, is waiting in the wings. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has made no secret of his long list of political enemies. It just was not clear until now how far he would go to try to punish them. 2 House Democrats disclosed this week that their smartphone data was secretly obtained by the Trump Justice Department as part of an effort to uncover the source of leaks related to the investigation of Russian-related election interference. It was a stunning revelation that one branch of government was using its power to gather private information on another, a move that carried echoes of President Richard Nixon during the Watergate scandal. And the U.S. Justice Department will scrutinize a wave of new laws in Republican-controlled states that tighten voting rules. The Attorney General Merrick Garland said that vowing to take action on any violations of federal law. More at voanews.com via remote. I'm Tommy McNeil, VOA News.